The weightlifting at this Summer Games has once again continued to just perform. We've not been let down on any session, I don't think. And this women's 76 kilo category was absolutely no exception. Now we had, to be honest, a lot of potential medalists. I'd said in my prediction video that I was pretty sure that Nacy DeHomers was probably going to win. And in fact, last time I spoke to Kate Nye, I think she also said the same thing, that unless something bizarre happens to Nacy DeHomers, toppling her is going to be tough. But in the fight for medals, we had Kate Nye from the USA, the 2019 world champion. We had Aremi Fuentes from Mexico. We had Irina Deka, which is a very suspicious name, from Ukraine. Kim Soo-hyun from Korea. It really was a pretty all-star lineup here. Now, when I do this kind of report or commentary, in some ways you have to do it through the lens of one athlete and sort of tell their narrative. And so I'm going to sort of do that with Kate, partly because I know Kate pretty well. I've interviewed her 4 or 5 times probably at this point, but also because other than Nacy DeHomers, I don't really know this field incredibly well. Now, we had a lot of people reach out to us last time we did a 20% off barbell saying, please can you do this again next month after payday? So we're doing it. 20% off the Elite barbell. This is, I mean, honestly, it's one of the most beautiful barbells in terms of the knurl and the spin. Absolutely solid. Maybe not for the rank beginner, but if you are serious about weightlifting, then this bar is certainly for you. It can handle all of your training. 20% off. I'll put a link down below. And of course, it's 10% off everything else as well on the store until the end of the games. So to kick things off, we had 19-year-old Kamushkan Faizulieva of Uzbekistan, who got the snatches underway, hitting 97 kilos for her opener, but then missing 101 kilos on a second attempt. She followed herself again to repeat 101, this time hitting a really solid lift, a 4-kilo personal best for her. That meant that Patricia Strenius from Sweden came out at 102 kilos, but was frustrated to miss her opener despite looking incredibly strong. The scoreboard was then such that she would then have to come out to follow herself, and she missed again, which put herself in danger of bombing out at her first Olympic Games. But on her third attempt, she managed a POW snatch, not a power, but a POW snatch, to stay alive and in the game. Daria Numava of Belarus then hit her opener at 103 kilos confidently. And Aremi Fuentes of Mexico, one of perhaps 4 or 5 potential medal contenders, got 105 kilos for her opener. But it didn't look anywhere near as comfortable. And to be honest, when she hit it, I said, she can't go up. Surely that looked like she came out for her third attempt. But she did indeed get up with it. Kim Soo-hyun of Korea, another contender for a medal in the total, took the bar at 106 kilos for her opener and was very happy with her efforts. Then the USA's Kate Nye chose to open up at 107 kilos, which I believe is her heaviest ever opener. She did 106 kilos, 2019 World Champs. I don't think she's done anything that heavy since, and she made it look easy. The speed and explosiveness that has come back to her since she started working with Spencer a few months ago is really exciting to see. I think she built up all that required strength and skill with her previous coach, but now Spencer's kind of just lit the fuse and kind of switched it on to be a little bit more explosive at those top weights. Daria Numava then tried the same weight, but it was too much for her, and other lifters then raised their attempts from 107 in order to minute her, so she didn't then have a longer time to rest. She had 1 minute to come back out, take her third attempt, which she ended up clocking. It can be pretty brutal in weightlifting sometimes. Mexico's Fuentes then added 3 kilos to her snatch somehow with 108 kilos. I was blown away. She snuck under it, keeping things very tight at this point with Kate Nye and Kim. Kim pushed to 109 kilos for her second attempt, got it overhead, but as we've seen of her in the past, momentum just kept it going and she missed it behind. Irina Deka then of Ukraine was the first of, maybe even the likely gold contenders to open up looking very strong with 110 kilos. Mexico's Fuentes took the same weight for her third attempt, having made 108 on her second, but wasn't able to hold on. Kim Soo-hyun then also tried 110, having missed 109 on her second attempt, and again, lost the bar behind. She held on for a scary length of time. When you're just thinking to yourself, in fact, you're not thinking it, you're yelling it, let go, let go, let go. She didn't want to let go because she wanted that 110. Looked like she was about to tear her arms out, but fortunately she did, so she would end up with 106 kilos. Irina Decker's then sort of main competitor, I suppose she has two really, in Kate Nye and Nacy de Homes, but Nacy de Homes, the favourite to win the gold, the Ecuadorian, then came out, showed really why she was the favourite, and she absolutely destroyed a very powerful 111 for her opening attempt to move herself into the lead. But Kate Nye took 111 kilos for her second attempt, 1 kilo below her personal record. This is a huge attempt for her, and she absolutely nailed it. She kind of looked like Harrison did, just on another level to how we've seen her before, just sharp, fast, accurate, and she nailed it to set herself up well for a third attempt. Decker then went up to 113 kilos to put some pressure onto Holmes for a second attempt, but couldn't get under the bar. She was then minuted by Kate Nye, who was on 113. Kate went up to 114, which meant that Decker had to come straight back out. And on that third attempt, she ended up coming out, and she actually did make that 113 kilos on a third attempt, despite being minuted, which set her up in a pretty good position going into clean and jerks. Then Kate Nye from the USA, having moved up to 114 in order to minute Decker, went out for what was a 2 kilo competition record for her. She hit an outstanding snatch. I mean, just absolutely smashed it. Stood it up, got the down signal, and then as she dropped it, she started to celebrate. She brought her hands together to celebrate in this kind of way. And as soon as she did it, I turned to Dan and I said, technically that's a no lift, but almost partly jokingly, because you just can't imagine someone actually getting called for this. So for people who don't know, your hands have to remain on the bar until the bar passes below this shoulder level. So if you were to do this and just let go, technically that's a no lift. But I've seen lifters in this Olympic Games do that and not be called for it. But I said it, Dan turned to me and he said, yeah, that's no lift technically, but we couldn't believe that they would actually go and do something. And then the next thing you know, the jury decided to take a look at it, and it was one of those gut-wrenching moments where it's almost like when you win, you buy a lottery ticket and you look and you've won, and then a gust of wind takes it away, and you just think like, no, please, can you just let me go back 2 seconds in time. I'll just change how, like, the sinking feeling of pain. And I just thought to myself, my God, if this is the reason why Kate doesn't get a medal, she makes a lift and she just lets go early. It's not like she let go before the down signal. She got the down signal. She let the bar let go of her hands early. It was just so painful to watch. But at the end of the day, she knows the rules. The rules are the rules. It's her fault. I'm sure it's not like she doesn't know this rule. I imagine it was just the excitement of having done this on an Olympic platform. It just overtook her. It overcame and she did it. But Dimas tried to get the jury to turn the ruling around. They didn't, so she would not be credited with the 114, instead just the 111. And so with no one else left to lift, the favourite from Ecuador, Nacy de Homes, made no mistake with 115 kilos on her second attempt to open up a pretty decisive lead, 2 kilos over Decker, 4 kilos over Kate. She then took 118 to further extend that advantage and made it a 5 kilo lead over Decker, a 7 kilo lead over Kate. After then, an interval that was marked by extended, angry discussions between the Team USA's coach, Pyrrhus Dimas, and the technical officials. He was still fighting to get them to turn it over. It was never going to happen at that point. And also, you know what? It was devastating. I felt ill watching it happen, but it's the rules, It just is how it is. It was a tough one, but it is what it is. And after that had happened, Faizulieva from Uzbekistan got the clean and jerks underway with 122 kilos. Normava then opted to drop her opener significantly, actually. She got 125 kilos on her opener, but it didn't look particularly easy on the stand, particularly for someone who in the past has clean and jerked over 150 kilos. So back in the day, a bit suspicious. Faizulieva's second attempt with 126 kilos was good enough, despite a slight stumble on the recovery. Patricia Strenius from Sweden then got underway with 130 kilos, which was really solid opener for the Swedish lifter. And that's actually a big opener for her. And there was none of the drama of the misses that she'd had on the snatch, so she looked happy to get an Olympic total just on the board. Faizulieva then tried the same weight but couldn't hold the jerk, and so she would end with 97,126. That's a 227 total, which would beat the winner from the B group, Emily Godley, who hit 222. Then Irina Decker, who was in second place after the snatches, came out early for 131 kilos, but missed it to really pile the pressure on herself. She's a squat jerker for those who are interested. Normava then managed the same weight, but so far back after the snatch, it didn't really look like she was going to actually be a medal contender. And so Irina Decker knew that she would need to hit 131 kilos on her second attempt for any real chance to stay in for a medal, especially when you've got Kate Nye, Fuentes, Kim, and Nacy DeHomez still to really put out some lifts. The clean looked easy and she dropped into the squat jerk, but the bar was just slightly forward and she couldn't balance. There was therefore even more pressure on her third attempt, and agonizingly for her, though fortunately for others who'd considered her, I guess, a potential medal threat, she missed again and would end up without a total. She was devastated, you could see, with her head in her hands. She was in shock. I think, and I spoke about this with Owen and Zach. We did a really long podcast, a wrap-up video podcast. It's on the Weightlifting House Patreon if you're interested. There is a link in the description if you want to check that out. It was a lot of fun. We did a recap of the Olympics so far, and Owen brought up a good point that people maybe don't appreciate how traumatizing it is for athletes to spend their whole life and career being built up by everybody for this one competition and then bombing out. It's just such a loss of identity. I think it's very difficult for these athletes when they do end up in this situation that Decker just got into. In fact, I'll just take this moment to say, if anyone wants to head over to the Weightlifting House Patreon page, we get put out, weekly podcasts, weekly programming, lots of extra training videos, reactions, that style of stuff. It is $4 a month, so the price of a mocha frappuccino latte, and you get access to all of that. This last month, I've been so busy, so there's been a little bit less content than normal, but as of, right now, I guess, we're in August, I'm going to ramp that back up again. Kate Nye then came out at 133 kilos, which was, historically about where she'd come out, but it felt almost early for her, considering how sharp her training's been looking recently. She's done a lot of cleans, pause jerks, plus jerks, that sort of thing. She came out 133 kilos and made it very comfortably, taking obvious care to lower the bar in a way that wouldn't attract the attention of the jury. And this lift moved her up into the lead for the moment, though of course with Nacy DeHomez still to come out. Strenius then added to her total with 133 kilos, a very slight flicker just in the elbow. She got one red light from the judges, but the jury didn't stir, so she got that lift. Fuentes from Mexico definitely in the hunt for a medal after a solid 108 kilo snatch. Took 135 kilos to get a total up, and with Decker now out of the running, felt like she might have a shot at a medal. Nacy DeHomez then did the smart thing, having such a big lead in the snatch. She didn't want to risk missing anything in the clean and jerk. She came out early at 135 kilos, which she destroyed. That's a 9 kilo lead over Kate Nye at that point. So surely she was going to be the Olympic champion. But with DeHomez seemingly certain to be champion, considering the ease of that lift, we now saw a real battle for the other medals. Fuentes made the first move. She was at this point 1 kilo behind Nye, 2 kilos up in the clean and jerk, but 3 behind in the snatch. So she moved up 2 kilos to 137 kilos to take a kilo lead over Kate Nye. Her lockout wasn't entirely convincing, but again, only one referee gave her a red light, and so she got that lift. However, it did look pretty maximal. And now Kim Soo-hyun entered the battle. Her 138 kilo opener wouldn't take her into a medal position, but she'd be right there, I think 2 kilos below. But it would set her up for a good challenge. She got one red light, but then the jury stopped the competition before taking the lift away. It was extremely harsh. Like, really harsh. Kate Nye then came out for a second attempt and hit a fantastic clean and jerk at 138 kilos, which pretty much equals her, I think is right around her best in competition. Let's just very quickly take a look. So her best in competition was 137 in international competition. So this is actually a kilo over, and she made it look so good. She stood it up really quickly. She put it overhead with no problem. Great lockout, no stumbling around, front foot, back foot recovery. And so she had really moved herself up into a strong silver medal position by some way over the chasing Mexican and Korean, who now at this point would surely just be battling it out between them for the bronze medal. Patricia Strenius, now still in the game, attempted 138 kilos, presumably for a personal best, I'm not quite sure, but it wouldn't get her into the medals, so I think that's why she went for it. Unfortunately, however, she missed it. Mexico's Fuentes then for a final lift tried 139 kilos, not to overtake Kate or Nacy, but just to further secure her bronze medal position, meaning that Nye was guaranteed a medal at this point, which was amazing. She missed the lift, meaning that she sat in bronze medal position and would now just have to wait and see what Kim could do. Now, Kim Soo-hyun, having had her 138 kilo opener attempt taken away from her, would need 140 kilos to overtake Fuentes for the bronze behind Kate Nye and Nacy DeHomas. She has 2 attempts to do this. But before she could try, DeHomas took 140 kilos on her second attempt to stamp her authority on that gold medal position. It was pretty easy, and if Kate was now to overtake her on her last lift, she would need a ridiculous 148 kilos. She has jerked more than that in training. I think she did 153 within the last month, but still, she hasn't never cleaned that weight from the floor. But first, before Kate could have a go, Kim Soo-hyun tried 140 kilos, but this time 2 referees thought they saw a press out. Again, I cannot stress how incredibly harsh this was. Kim, who had made the lift and dropped it and celebrated because she was like, I've just got bronze medal, she then burst into tears while still on the platform. It was just agonizing to watch. The jury's harsh calls are just destroying her Olympic medal dreams right in front of her eyes. And she sort of does come across as one of those lifters for whom a perfect lockout kind of just seems almost biomechanically impossible. The jury deliberated on it for a while, but they ended up agreeing with the referees. She did have 1 attempt remaining though. And so after 2 minutes, Kim would have to come out and try the weight again one last time to get that bronze medal position. If she made it, bronze medal. If she misses it, no total. This time she cleaned the weight, she jerked the bar, but she lost her balance overhead and she fell to the ground, and the bar bounced on the ground, came back up, bounced on her face, hit her nose actually, which is rare because normally there's enough space, but I guess when it's bouncing there's a little bit of, flex on the bar. And so she ended up missing the lift. It was just devastating to see her miss out on a medal. I can't recall a single other competition where her performance wouldn't have netted her a bronze medal. But, kick out the press out, that's all I'm saying. Nacy DeHomas with 1 attempt remaining, Kate Nye with 1 attempt remaining. Smartly, DeHomas, to really kill off any chances of Kate Nye, get that fly away from my mug, who had written 148 kilos to try and take the gold over Nacy DeHomas. Nacy DeHomas came out for 145, and she made the lift with a slight suspicion of a press out in one arm. And then, more importantly, she seemed to drop the bar a little bit early and without full control of the weight. 2 referees pressed red, and I called it as well. This isn't the jury then just coming in a harsh way. I think I said, that I don't know if that, if they're going to hold Kate accountable to having made a lift and let go early, they've really got to hold that stern level. So 2 referees pressed red, and so it looked like Kate Nye would have a shot at gold with 148, which again is, I'm not saying she would make it, but I'm just saying that she would have a chance, and she'd have that mindset of make this and I win, that narrative going through her head if she went for it. So 2 referees pressed red, but then the jury intervened, and they intervened in the favour of Nacy DeHomas. They took another look, they decided the referees were wrong, so she kept the lift, which moved her up to a 263 total and just totally out of sight. Now, I maintain that it would be very harsh to not give her the lift. However, considering how they red-lighted Kate and red-lighted Kim Soo-hyun, particularly Kate, where the lift itself was perfect and then she let go like an inch above her shoulders. I think if you're going to do that to Kate, you have to have that higher standard for Nacy DeHomas, who wasn't in perfect control of the bar and dropped it, I think, a little bit early. So Anyway, I'm sure she would have still won. But Kate Nye then came out for 148 kilos regardless, knowing that she'd won the silver and that this lift would do nothing more than just extend her own personal record and extend her American record total as well. But the clean was too heavy for her. She did get under it, which is impressive, but she couldn't get up with it. Nevertheless, she knew she had the silver medal. That is the best USA result at the Olympics since Tara Nutt's gold medal back in 2000, which was the first time women were even allowed to compete at the Olympic Games. Nacy DeHomas gold, Kate Nye silver, Aremi Fuentes bronze. Let's take a look at the stats. 8 lifters, 48 lifts, 27 makes, 21 misses, 13 out of 6 openers made, 9 out of 16 second attempts made, 5 out of 16 third attempts made. Guys, don't forget, 20% off the Elite Barbell. I'll put a link for it down below. This is the best price you're ever going to get, this unbelievable barbell. If you want to check out Almost checked myself out there. If you want to check out some of the stats, then head over to the link in the description and you can look at just how amazing the specifications of this bar actually are. I'll catch you all tomorrow for more of the Olympic Games.